In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make chill pop music. And to do that, I remade one of my favorite songs right now called MIA by Khalid and Chlöe. And I'll break down my remake of the song's elements, the sounds of those elements, the mixing, the structure and arrangement, all that jazz. So hopefully by the end of this tutorial, you can make a song in a similar chill pop R&B style to this one. Set the tempo around 117 BPM. Start off by making some nice smooth strings. These are just 5 simple chords. 3 of them have the same length of 1 bar like this, and then there's just a 2 chord change over here in the 3rd bar. And if you need help creating chords, a good resource that I can recommend is chord.com. Not a sponsor. And for the string sound, I used a cello preset from Flex. And for the mixing, I put this EQ on here that takes out a great chunk of the lows because we're going to make a very prominent 808 bass line later, and we don't want these unneeded lows of the strings to counteract with that and make it sound all muddy in the mix. And then taking out a good amount of the highs as well, just because it helps tone down the sound and make it muffled in the background more. The purpose of the strings are just to help really amplify and enhance the mix a little bit. It's not really to stand out on its own as an element, so muffling it down by taking out a little bit of the highs like this helps to make it more of a background element. Next, take the same chords and put it into some stronger sounds. I used 5 presets to accomplish this sound. I used this piano preset from Flex, this electric piano preset from Flex, this synth preset from MHA's Vital Sound Bank Volume 2, this synth preset from MHA's Vital Sound Bank Volume 3, and this other synth preset from the same sound banks. So these two help to give it a more acoustic and organic sound with a piano. It helps to add texture to the chords for the chorus. And as you hear, these synth sounds over here are very atmospheric, vibey, chill chords. It really helps to create a more chill atmosphere in the mix. Nothing too aggressive in the synth department over here. It's just very atmospheric and airy sounds. For the mixing, I have the same EQ from the strings from earlier for the same exact reasons. I automated a Fruity Love filter as well by creating an automation clip on the cut over here, just so that we can control how muffled it really is in the mix. But basically, we want a more muffled version of the chords in the verse over here, and then we really tank it up over here and have the full version of the chords for the chorus. So for example, very muffled, and then you get to the second part. We let that texture and high-endness really shine through in the second part to give some extra texture, which helps add some variety and flavor for the second part of the chorus. Next, take the bass notes of the chords and put it into some bass presets. And by the bass notes, I just mean like the root notes of what the chords actually are. So for example, if this is a B chord over here, you're going to have a B for the bass note. And then if you have a D sharp chord over here, similarly, you're going to have a D sharp for the bass note. And just take the bass notes from the chords in the exact same pattern that you have over here, and then chop them up into an 808. Just the same pattern of the notes from earlier from the chords, just chopped up a little bit here and there to kind of give some extra rhythm to the bass. I used 3 presets to accomplish this sound. I have this 808 preset from Flex, this 808 preset from Flex, and this 808 bass preset from MHA's Vital Sound Bank Volume 3. So these first 2 are very just distorted, boosted 808 sounds to help with the texture of the bass. And this 808 over here really helps with the low end support, almost like a sub 808 bass kind of. And for the mixing, all I put on here is this Fruity Blood overdrive with the main knob turned about a third of the way and the filter turned a little over half of the way, just so that we really get a lot of amplification with this 808 sound, have it really blast through the mix. And then also toning down the higher ends with this filter over here, just so that it really gets into that bass sound more as well. It really focuses on those low ends versus having a lot of unneeded highs, so we just filtered that down with this. Next, make a little background melody. These are just a few random notes here and there just to give the mix some extra flavor and really fill it up and give it some ambience. It really makes a big difference in the final mix when you have some random notes here and there to kind of fill up the emptiness in the mix. To get what kind of notes to use, just follow the key that you're working in, and also the chords can help you get some notes to use as well. And I use this synth preset from Flex to accomplish that sound. Now for the drums. I have this kick. It's a very loud, hard-hitting kick with lots of high-end texture as well. I have this percussion snare hit thing. It's a very light, snappy percussion sample, and I put it into a very trendy pop pattern that sounds like this. And then I created my own hat and clap loop over here with this kind of hip-hop trap claps over here, this default 808 clap, this default 808 hi-hat, and then this hip-hop trap hi-hat as well. All together, all the drums sound like this. The kick follows the pattern of the 808 bass, and overall it's a very simple R&B modern type drum beat. And the only mixing that I put on the drums is a Fruity Blood overdrive, just to make sure we get some extra amplification for the drums to power through the mix. Now for the structure and arrangement of this track, I broke it up into 3 parts mainly. We have the verse and intro over here, chorus part 1 over here, and chorus part 2 over here as well. For the verse and intro, all we have is the background melody and the full drum loop playing, just to kind of introduce the song instrumentally while focusing on the vocals and lyricism. Then for the chorus part 1, this is where you start layering everything together. You have the full drum loop, including a little crash at the beginning. The background melody still continuing from earlier. The chords, and now the 808 bass as well. And then for the chorus part 2, you just add everything all together. You have everything from before, and then you're just adding the strings as well, just for some extra variance for the second part of the chorus. So this is what the final structure and arrangement of the track looks like over here. And after all that, here's the final result.
I don't know what to do. You've been MIA, missing in action.